Hello, my name is Austin Rosfeld, and this is a quick and easy guide on how to use the Portal 2 in-game community test chamber creator. That is quite the mouthful. Anyways, so what you want to do once you load up Portal 2 is click on the community test chambers, create test chambers, and then double click on new test chamber. Basically what this will do is it will load up a pretty basic, pretty plain rectangular test chamber. So first thing you're gonna need to know how to do is moving around the test chamber so you can actually create something. So the right mouse button when you click and drag will allow you to pan the camera. Middle mouse button when you click and drag, it will allow you to rotate the camera. Scrolling with the middle mouse button or the mouse wheel, whatever you want to call it, will allow you to zoom in and out. And the left mouse button when your cursor is outside of the test chamber will allow you to rotate as well. But if it's inside, it will select items, objects in the wall, and pretty much whatever is in the way of the cursor. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about these doors. What do they mean? So this is the exit door, as you can tell with the man and the arrow. So that's the exit door. That's where when the player walks into this door, the test chamber is over. It's done. This door, the plain white door, is the entrance door. So this is where the player is going to start. If you've played Portal before, you know that there are these gray panels and these white panels. The gray panels you cannot place portals on, and the white panels you can. So say you wanted to make all of this the white panels. You can hit P is the hotkey, and it will change it to a portalable. That's actually what it's called. Portalable. That's a tongue twister. Panel that you can place portals on. Or if you want, you can also right click and click on portalable here. First time, sometimes you have to do it twice, but most of the time you won't have to. It's fine right there. So that gives us a pretty basic open area. So over here on the left, there's a panel. Basically just move your cursor all the way to the left and it'll open up the items tab. So let's say we want to make it to where the player has to place a button or place a companion cube or a cube on a button in order to open this door. What you want to do is come over to the items, click on the button, place it wherever you want, and then come over here to the left again and then drag in or click on the companion cube and bring it in. So this right here will allow multiple companion cubes to come out, say if you were to connect it, which we'll get to in a second. Or we can just delete this to where we only are having one companion cube. So if you want to connect this to this, because currently this isn't going to do anything. If you place this cube on this button, it's not connected to anything. Basically, it's just a pressure plate that does nothing at the moment. So what you want to do is right click on this, connect to, and then it'll give you this little node thing. You want to click on what you want to connect it to. And now you see this ant line is showing that this and this are connected. So once one thing is activated, the other thing will trigger. So now, once you place this companion cube on here, this door will open. And you can move this however you want. The ant line will follow. You won't have to reconnect things, which is a nice touch. That would have been very annoying. Say also that you wanted to, maybe make this room a little bit more shapely, make it not just a rectangle. What you could do is just click and drag on all of this. Well, I mean, it really depends. If you have both horizontal or I guess, floor panels and wall panels at the same time. It'll work with all of these that are outlined. And then you can use the plus or minus keys in your numpad, which will give or like add or remove blocks. So if we hit plus here, it'll basically just build this wall. If you want to just remove this, you can hit minus on that and it'll take it away. If you want to take this wall here and hit plus, it'll bring it towards you. Minus will pull it away from you. So that can be used to build your level and make sure it's not just one small rectangular area. So what I'm going to do for the sake of the video is I'm going to build a separate room. So now we have an obstacle in our way. We need to get past this wall to get to the exit from here, which is where we start. So if you want to create a door for the player to have to go through, click on whichever block you want. We're just going to go with the middle one and hit minus. Again, these are the plus or minus on the numpad. Or if you so desire, you can also push or pull surface by right-clicking. Although it does take quite a bit longer to do it that way, I definitely recommend just using the plus or minus. So we could take this pedestal button in the items tab and place it, but notice that maybe you want it to be facing a different way. So you look at this little curved line here, this white curved line, and it will snap towards each possible direction. But now we still don't have a door, we have a button that doesn't do anything. So although there aren't really any door items in here, what I found to be the best way to create a door is to use this glass panel or this angled panel. We're going to use the glass panel because it differentiates from the wall and it's much easier to see. So we click on the glass panel, we put it in here, but we notice, well, now it's facing the wrong way. Same way you did with the button, click on it and rotate it. Now it's facing here. Right click, connect to, and then connect the panel to the button. Now you'll notice that it's starting on the floor. If we want it to start up to where when we push the button the door goes down instead of when we push the button it comes up, what you want to do is right click on the panel itself and click on start deployed. This will make sure it starts deployed. But now again we're noticing that there's this little gap here, so a player could easily just place a portal there and a portal here and then just skip this button entirely. What you want to do to prevent that is right click on it again, go to angle, and then make it a 90-degree angled panel. That will basically create a door, something very simple. Now when you push this button, this will go all the way down. But since we're using this pedestal button, it actually has its own little thing that you can do. So you right click on it and you notice that there's a 3 here, like it looks like a clock. So you can click up and down on here to add time or remove time for how long this will stay down. If you want it to go on infinitely, to where if you push this button this will stay down forever or until that button is pushed again, you go down to below 3 and you see this little infinity sign. That is basically just symbolizing that each thing it'll stay down forever. Now there are a few other items that have some interesting things going on. So some of them I'm going to just lay them out here really quickly. So we're gonna start off with the lift or the launcher or whatever you want to call it. I usually just call it a lift. But what you want to do with this is you drag it in, place it wherever you want, but then you'll notice that you have this little arc going on. So that is the arc that the player is going to follow when they go on this lift. It's going to launch them following this line. So you can click on this here, click and drag, and you can move that to wherever you want. And when the player goes on there, now they will be launched from here all the way up to here. This yellow dot changes the angle at which this happens, which makes it a lot easier to do certain things. So let's move that out of the way for now. Let's move that down. A little dramatic. All right, so these two they have similar functions as far as moving them around and placing them in the editor goes. So what I want to do is click on this diamond. Say you don't want it to be directly in the middle of the panel. And click on this diamond, move it up or down or left or right, whichever way you want it to move. And that will basically just make it to where you can make it vertical. Say you want to use it as a shield to protect from turrets or something. Or you could raise or lower it to what basically just to do whichever your puzzle calls for. The easiest one for moving like on top of, if you're gonna place a portal here and place it somewhere else, is all the way down at the bottom. It's the easiest for the player to get across. And this is the same thing sort of, except it has a little bit less a little bit more limited rather. I'm not gonna go over all the items because I assume that if you're working in this editor, you've already played Portal 2 and you know what most of these items do. If not, the names are pretty self-explanatory for the most part. So with this, I forget exactly what this is called, the tractor beam. If the player goes into it, it will basically work as an anti-gravity and it'll push it away, push the player away from here. But if you want it to make the orange one, which is the same thing but reverse, and pull it towards the whatever this would be called, I'm not exactly sure. Just right click on it, oh, that's weird, and hit start reversed, and then now whenever the player goes into it, it will pull them towards there. And then there's one more thing that is different. So you come over here, actually two more things. The piston platform is a platform that when is activated, it will move up. And this little cone right here decides how far up that it moves. So if you move it up here, this activates. It will move 3 or 4 blocks up. I guess that would be 3 blocks up. And then basically you can use this circle to choose its starting position. And it's the same thing with the track platform. It's just horizontal instead of vertical. And then the last thing that we need to go over is the gels. So the way gels work in this game, or at least in this editor, is this will have a constant stream. It won't stop. Unless you were to connect it to, say, a button. By the way, you can connect one button to multiple things. So now this button will open the door and it will have gel come out. But anyways, you right click on here and you can see the gel type. You can change the gel type easily just by right clicking on it. Or if you wish, you can use these over here. So the dropper enabled basically gets rid of the thing that drops the gel itself, to where all you have really is this little goo pile that was left already. Or you can right click on it and gel flow. So if you select light, a little bit will come out, heavy and medium, medium more would come out, and heavy a lot of gel comes out, excuse me. Drip means barely any comes out, and bomb makes it to where if you are, say you push this button that's connected to, a lot will come out at once, but then after that it won't really be much. So it's like again like a bomb, as it's self-described. Allow streaks basically makes it to where the gel can streak. I don't really know how else to describe it. But the way gel works in this game is, see, if it's like this, it will go onto here, but if you maybe had it heavy, it would go out more and it would go on here, and then it would spread a little bit more. Allow streaks basically gets rid of its spreading. So in order to playtest your level, there's two things you could do. First thing is you could go up here to the top panel and you click on switch to game view. However, when you switch to game view, you notice that none of the changes that you made are present. That's because switching to game view is basically the oldest, not the oldest, but the most recent non-built chamber. So you notice that everything is back as it was right when we started. So if you want to play test normally, basically exit to editor, come up to the top and click on the play button, the build and play puzzle. So what this does, it'll build the level that you have constructed, build geometry, calculating lighting. Shouldn't take that long, although when you create some bigger maps it might take some time. When I was working on a project, I remember it took, I believe, 2 minutes once to work, but that's just because I put in a lot. So now you notice, what we have done recently is now available. This launchpad will launch me into nothing, really, because that's where the thing is. But we can push this. Notice it comes out like the bomb, and then this door is also now open. And then we can come over here, and the door opens like that. So that's a pretty basic editor and a pretty basic tutorial on how to use the editor. Once you exit the level, it will take you back to the beginning, so you want to play test again, or you could just hit escape and exit to editor. So that's pretty much it. I don't believe there's really much else for me to talk about. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to save your project, because if you don't save your project, it will you'll lose all your progress. If you wish to publish the level to the Steam Workshop, all you have to do is come over here and click on publish, and it will go through the building process again, and then it will allow you to name your project, and then just click on publish to Steam Workshop, and now your level will be available to anyone to play, or whoever you want to play, rather. Well, I mean, it depends on the settings that you pick. So that's a basic rundown of all the things you can do with the Portal 2 editor. If you have any questions on how to do things, be sure to leave them in the comments. I will be sure to get back to them. It's a fun editor to use. I enjoyed my time in it. And it's good for level designers or game designers if you want to hone up your level design skills, or if you want to hone maybe puzzle making skills. So yeah, that's it, and see ya.